G'day, my name's Chris. Welcome back to the shed. Welcome back to Flat Tank Friday. It's been a great week. Lots has happened and lots of good things in my life and lots of good things going on. Some good things about the Douglas engine though, and that's even better. So the engine never went to the engine builders this week. I just didn't have time. But after last week's video, Ian Colston, who's a subscriber, left some messages and I replied, and we've gone backwards and forwards a few times over the week. And it's been really good. I actually made a video yesterday and was 90% of the way through uploading it before Ian contacted me again to give me the final piece of the clue and the final piece of the puzzle over the engine. So, as I said last week, a few anxiety points for me. I wasn't sure how a few things worked, certainly wasn't sure about the valve alignment with the tappets, and I wasn't sure I had everything together in the timing chain case correctly. So, both of those things have sort of been allayed, my fears, and we can come in and have a look at it. If you want to watch last week's video first, before you watch today's, then maybe all of this will make a bit more sense. But let's come in, have a closer look at the engine, and I'll try and talk my way through what Ian's written down and send in those messages for us. Or I've set up the camera to try and give us a better look at the engine and to try and have a look at the timing chain case so that you get a better idea of what's going on if you haven't looked inside one. So the first thing was, I talked last week about how the valves didn't line up all that well with the tappets. One was in the middle, some are just off centre and some are to the edge. So that was one of Ian's first comments. Ian suggested that, in fact, the tappets are not meant to line up. They rotate, and then the wear pattern against the valve is spread out as the tappet revolves around. It doesn't wear in one place. That made a fair bit of sense, I suppose, and I felt okay about that. And Ian seems to be very knowledgeable on the topic. So that allayed my fears here and here. This one is almost in the middle. The other three are not. Ian also talked about the timing chain case and the crankcase, and that underneath this slotted screw, and I'll just undo that, and there's the slotted screw. In this hole, there's actually vented to the crankcase. A ball bearing slides in and seats, and it's about maybe an inch down that hole, and then there's a spring that goes on top of it. Now, I actually found those, and we have the spring and we have the ball bearing. So they slide in and slide in, and the screw should tighten up on top, and you end up with a one-way valve. And so at a certain pressure, the crankcase can push air and oil into the timing chain case, but the timing chain case is not vented back into the engine. It's a one-way valve. Any pressure from this side pushes the ball bearing into the seat, and that's the end of it. A greater pressure on the other side set against the spring forces the ball valve open, and pressure can vent back through this hole. That was pretty cool. I was delighted to hear from Ian, and I didn't know that the ball bearing and the spring should be in there at all. So the great advantage of a YouTube channel for me was that I could get the knowledge that someone else has, and Ian willingly shared it with me. So that was great. I was really, really pleased. Down here, I thought this was a sump plug, or a point for a sump plug. On the other side, there is a crankcase sump plug, and it's just here. Ian pointed out this in fact isn't meant to be a plug, that the timing chain case needs to vent, and that this should have a hole, or a different plug in fact. It should have a hole, and then a lot of people put a hose on it to drop the oil onto the road, or some people put a catch can on it to keep everything clean. And then in fact a sump plug goes in this hole for the crankcase to hold oil, and this needs to be a drain point. It was brilliant. I really thank you so much, Ian, for what you shared with me through the channel. It's great. It makes a huge difference to what I'm trying to do. As I've said repeatedly, I'm no expert. I have multiple brands of bike, and every bike is different, and you learn as you go. So big thanks to Ian. I'm going to tidy this up. I'm going to make sure I have the right spring for this. Is it the right spring? I don't know. Is the pressure enough? I don't know. But I'm going to make more inquiries and find out. But in the meantime, I feel whilst no work has been done this week, I've made a huge step forward in understanding how does this whole thing actually work and what does it do. It makes a big difference to how it's going about. Hey, that's Flat Tank Friday for another week. Again, short episode, but I'm learning as I go, and you're sharing it in almost real time. This isn't shot weeks in advance. You're actually seeing how long it takes to learn things, know things, and to do things while you've got a wife, children, family stuff, and work stuff to do. It requires a lot of patience and a lot of time. Over the years of, 6 or 7 bikes, playing with them, I've developed an awful lot of patience. It doesn't work as quickly as you want sometimes, and if you get frustrated and it doesn't work, it's time to throw a sheet over it and push it into the corner for a few months. Don't bail out of them. I love my projects. I love what I'm doing. I hope you're enjoying watching along. Big thumbs up and big thank you to Ian Colston for being in touch. I really, really appreciate what you did. I really appreciate that you saw something and thought, hey, I'm going to talk about it and tell someone. Thanks, everybody. I hope you're enjoying what we do. If you do, hit the like and the subscribe button. And if you don't, hey, that's okay. It's all good. Cheers. Have a great weekend.